My custom golf shop is located at the beautiful Goose Creek Golf Course in Mariloma, California. If you walk in the front door, you'll see 3 signs on the back wall. In bold letters, it says, ability minus mental interference equals result. That simple formula is the basis of my coaching philosophy. My students understand it very well. If you understand it, it'll become quite obvious why you're not improving. In this video, we're going to talk about it. Hey, senior golfers. You know, when golfers come to me, it's normally always because they're trying to get to the next scoring level. They've plateaued at some level. Maybe they haven't broken 100 or 90 or 80 or whatever. They're trying to get to the next level, and they think they lack the ability to get there. So they're coming to me, hoping that I can provide them with the ability to get to their next scoring goal. Now, in truth, the truth is that they almost always have the ability to get there. If they never broke 100, they're shooting the low hundreds. They have the ability to get in the 90s. Or if they never broke 90, they're shooting in the middle 90s. They have the ability to get in the 80s. It's the mental interference that's preventing them from improving. You know, years ago, I read a book. This is my first year in college. The book, The Inner Game of Tennis, by Tim Gallwey. This book it's a great book, and it forever altered my opinion about sports psychology. It's given me a better understanding of sports psychology and you know how to improve. Later, Tim wrote a book called The Inner Game of Golf, which is another great book that I highly recommend. And in that book, Tim came up with a little formula that was called Big P equals small p minus I. The little formula, what it means is performance equals potential minus interference. I love that little formula. And I reworded it into my own little, that I have on my wall, my own formula. Ability minus mental interference equals result. And now that's really the basis of my coaching philosophy. It has been for years. So now let's talk about this. The key here really is mental interference. This is what's preventing you from getting to your next level. It's not ability. It's not that you have to learn a new swing. It's you have to move past the mental interference. Let's talk about this. I break it down into 3 areas. The first is limiting belief. If you don't believe you're good enough to get to your next goal, you're never going to get there. If you believe you can never shoot in the 80s, you never will. You can't overcome self-belief. You're just going to keep banging your head against the wall. Now, this is not a hard one to overcome. Once you start to understand the game differently and start to really see the game differently, you can move past that belief. The biggest one really is overthinking. You know, golfers, they don't overthink. They overthink a lot more on the golf course than they do in practicing or when they're taking a lesson from me. And that's when I always have my little snow globe. And I tell them, when you're practicing or you're with me, your mind's pretty quiet. I represent your mind. But once you get on the golf course, the beta waves come. Your mind becomes really active. And this what inhibits your ability to improve. It's not that your swing breaks down or that you forget how to swing. It's just that you're overthinking. And you can't play to your potential. I mean, even a long time ago, I remember Yogi Berra, over 50 years ago, Yogi said, the great Yankee catcher, you can't hit and think at the same time. You have an intent where you want the ball to go, you just have to go. The ball's coming at you, you just have to respond subconsciously. Even back then, I remember Harvey Penick, the Hall of Fame golf instructor, the great golf instructor, wrote the Little Red Book, taught Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite how to play golf. Harvey said you can't think about what you're doing while you're doing it. Even back then, they knew. No great athletes thinks while they're doing it. The sports psychologist, Dr. Bob Rotella, famously said the human organism works best when the conscious mind is turned off. Tiger Woods says, when I swing, I mentally step aside. There's no thinking going on while I'm swinging. I don't make it happen. I just let it happen. You know, the great Canadian golfer Mo Norman said you have to let the body enjoy the swing. The biggest word in golf is let. Another great Canadian golfer, George Knudson, said you have to lose control to gain control. You have to stop trying to consciously control, to get better. We also tend to have multiple intentions on the golf course. When if you get in the car to drive to the store, you don't get in the car and say, okay, I want to go to the store, but I don't want to go to the golf course, and I don't want to go to the post office. I don't want to go to the school. You don't say those things. You don't say, okay, stand tall keep my head high, put my hands in 10 and 2 o'clock, pay attention to what's going on. You just drive to the store. But on the golf course, we don't do that. On the golf course, we tee it up. We say, okay, I want to go A to B. I want to go there, but I don't want to go in the sand trap, and I don't want to go B, and I don't want to embarrass myself. And then look down the ball and say, man, I want to keep my head still and keep my left arm straight and complete my backswing. You know, we're overthinking like crazy. The final thing is emotions, specifically fear and anxiety. I mean, Nicholas and Sam Snead both said fear is a golfer's number one goal. Fear is a golfer's number one obstacle. Bobby Jones said it was tension. Well, fear breeds tension, and overthinking breeds fear and anxiety. You see that the lake and you start tensing up. You start thinking about your muscles, you start tensing up. So these are the things, this is the mental interference. These are the things that prevent you from improving. It's not a lack of ability. You know, I had a student a few years ago. I call him Big Mike. He's tall, 6'7". He was in his mid-60s. He came to me. He was a handball player, and he decided he wanted to learn golf. He was tired of handball and wanted to learn golf. And he didn't have any of these preconceived notions. He has no fear, no self-conscious. He just wanted to become better. And he played, he kept score, and he was 125, 30, kept all of his shots. And he started working with me. And within a year, first year he broke 90. He was in the 90s. The second year he was in the 80s and low 80s. And the third year he was in this. Third year, I think 6 times he shot in the 70s. Now, how could that happen? How could he get better so quick? It's because he didn't have all these. He wasn't worried about it. He didn't have all this mental interference. He wasn't concerned with these limiting beliefs and overthinking and the fearful emotions. He didn't have any of that. He just got better, and he believed, well, if I keep getting better, I'm going to score better. And he did. So you can make a quantum leap. He was in his mid-60s. You can make a quantum leap if you can move by this. And that is the most important thing to do. So the next time you play golf, I want you to start being aware. They call it metacognition. Start being aware of your tension in your body, or if you're overthinking. Again, Galway, Tim Galway, he'd always say awareness is curative. If you're aware of it, you can get better at it. You can move past. You can progress quickly. So anyway, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Or you can contact me directly through my website, through philsgolf.com. If you enjoy my Effortless Senior Golf series, just click on the subscribe button. I'm a senior golfer. I love teaching senior golfers, and I post videos every week. So I'll thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.